Ivana. Hey, SYL. Hey, Scrapebook. Scrapegoat, sorry. Hey, Scrapegoat. Hey, Comic Brook. Hey, Fiza. Yeah, Hey, Claire. It has been. I'm not going to talk about it. Hi, Kayla. Yeah, I am not going to be talking about it. Hey, Joel. Scrapebook, yeah. Hey, Anunnaki. Hey, Jenna. And yes, I am here for her, able to talk to her, but I will not talk for her. There it is. Hey, George girl. Uh, University chancellor who was talking about his porn life? I did not hear about that. Unlock CB? Or unblock CB? Hey, ugly hobo. I will put in a good word for you, Comic Brook. You've always been a sweetheart on my channel. Never figure out the ding block list. That's fair. I'll actually, yeah, I'll put in a good word for you. Doesn't mean she'd be able to block even if she wanted to. The block lists are a pain in the ass to manage. Honestly, you're drunk again. Good times. Honestly, if I blocked somebody and they're like, "Oh, unblock this person," I'd be like, I don't even know if I can. I don't even know if I would be able to unblock someone at this point. List is too long. I mean, yeah. And, like, there's a limit to how many it will show. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a limit to how many people it'll show on the block list. Yeah, there is. Like, I'm just taking a very quick look. My block list, there's like a whole lot of names. And then at the end, show 340 more. So I don't know how many it shows by default. It's a lot. It shows a lot of names by default. And then I've got 340 beyond that. So, hey, Monica. Modding is fascist. Hey, FXer. I mean, I'm not gonna look to see if you're on the list. It's way too long. Mass unban? Mass unban? Oh, hell no. Jesus Christ, no. Never. What was for dinner? Fried chicken. I did my go-shees tonight, so I picked up fried chicken from the hot meal counter. Make Ugly Hobo a fascist. Pretty sure I probably banned a couple. I probably banned a few fake ones, Anunnaki. Bill Maher is fascist? Indeed. He absolutely is. Pinkety drinkety. But Starbucks. It's on the BDS list. Bill Maher wants to test on animals. Of course he does. Eat from a work cafeteria. Probably not. She has $50 in gift cards. Which means I suppose the money is already spent. Starbucks has already begun the money, but I don't know, it's just... But yeah, like, I know I'm trying to stick to that BDS list of countries to boycott for their support of Israel. So Starbucks is on there. Tim's is on there. Coke and Pepsi are both on there. Why does Trump keep getting banned in states? Probably because of the insurrection and attempt to overthrow the election results. Being homeless, I actually enjoy Starbucks. They let me charge my phone. And the thing is, like, I will not... hey, Color Purple. I will not shame people who do still use Starbucks. Because, I mean, you know, it's tough, you know? So I won't... mean spread is on? Indeed it does, Toodles. So, like, I'm not going to shame people who do go to Starbucks. I'm just not going to go there myself. Colorado, another one? I only heard about Colorado. I didn't hear about another state doing it, but good for whatever state that is. That said, I mean... Scrapegoat! Welcome, Scrapegoat. Thank you for a membership. Starbucks for life, a scam? I don't know, probably. Yeah, like, the Supreme Court is going to overturn it. Like, it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and they're just going to like... They're not even going to pretend to actually listen to the arguments. It's just going to be, oh no, he's on the list. Yeah, he's on the ballot. You're not allowed to prevent anyone from being on the ballot. Even if they've committed crimes, even if they tried to overthrow the election. Maine. Eh. I suppose Trump probably doesn't really care that much about Maine anyway. Like, Maine usually votes Democratic, doesn't it? Like, if I'm not correct, Maine is pretty consistently Democratic. Libertarian? Yeah, fuck the Libertarian Party. Actually, Maine... Huh. Wait. Oh, no, there we go. Yeah, so Maine went... So yeah, I think Maine is... Can we have a moment of silence for the dead donkey? That's true, comic book. The donkey's dead. Alright, moment over. We listen to scat music. I've listened to Scat Man. Hey, JH. Came live at a good time. Did I? I assume because you're free? Yeah, I mean, I've listened to the song Scat Man. She said we're getting an apartment. Well... all I can say is everything remains to be seen. We will see. On a side note, there's a mashup of Scatman with Mortal Kombat. The Mortal Kombat theme. It's pretty awesome. And I mean, it's just, you know, I'm the Scat Man. It's a good song. And then the Mortal Kombat theme is fucking awesome. So combining the two, hell yeah. Cooking stream. If we do get an apartment together, yes, cooking streams. Fucking finally get to do some cooking streams again. Skibbity wop. But, like I said, we will see. And I don't really want to talk about her tonight. I don't need no education. Just give me independent study. Independent learning time. Don't need no thought control. I mean, I probably do. I probably could benefit from some thought control. Twitter versus Reddit. I mean... neither. See the boy in the heron now? Maybe. We'll see. Hey, Kina. I could not learn math alone. I mean, I can't learn math with somebody. I can't learn math with instruction either, so I can't learn math. Just another brick in Cornwall. Anyways, 15 minutes, 16 minutes now, so shall we get into the game? What do you say we get back to the game? Leave them moms alone. Alright, that's a good one, Comic Brook. That's a good one. I had to learn it one-on-one with the tutor, then I liked it. Yeah, you were... One plus one equals beast with two backs. Aw, yeah. Learning your favorite number, 69. Aw, yeah. Went to early class for both math and chemistry, and I did not like it and still barely got it. Yeah. Got myself that gift I was talking about. Which gift? The hoodie? Do you mean the hoodie, Kina? Have I offered my valuable opinion about GTA 6? Hey, Red Room. My opinion on GTA 6 is, it's not my type of game. Algebra and geometry. They're fun like puzzles. Hey, alien tourist. Always. Anyway. Nahima confined the princess to bed all morning so she could rest and regain some strength, as she had been weakened by the delirium of that endless night. When the time to meet the fairy came, Kiana was already feeling a bit better, but she was still at her window, dumbfounded. What are you thinking about, love? Wait, huh? No choice to do math. Ew, math sucks. Oh, what are you thinking about, love? Screw math, I know. I do not know. All my thoughts are getting tangled up. I am not even sure I can distinguish between what is right or wrong anymore. The heiress turned around, assuming she had glimpsed Nahima, but there was nobody in the room. She immediately stood up with a scared look on her face. Who is talking? Does this game have cheat codes? Not that I am aware of, Craig. Hello. Do not be afraid, my love. I was just confirming that the coast was clear. Fairy Empire is the name of this tune. With those mysterious words, a familiar gust of wind entered the princess' cabinet and took the shape of a colorful whirlwind, revealing a human silhouette. Godmother? Is that you? Yes, my child. Are you surprised? Were you expecting someone else? Geometry teacher died walking through a cemetery alone at night and falling and hitting his head. A strange creature had just appeared before Kiana's wide-open eyes. Right place, wrong time. The stranger did not look human, yet she also seemed devoured by leaves and lianas, like a nymph. She cute. She's pretty cute. Her piercing gaze, and her shredded, almost grim garb made her look more like a witch than a fairy. Godmother has a Scottish accent. I'm trying to find a good voice for her. I'm not good at... I don't actually have a wide range of voices, to be honest. Because I'm terrible at accents. The princess did not dare to tell the one she had invoked that she was scared of her, but she was not able to hide her turmoil either. No need to be scared of the mommy here. Well, I did not picture you that way, Godmother. The stranger laughed frankly and stared at the young woman with ardent eyes. Can we get a Canadian accent? Oh, but you're not the only one, eh? You humans have such a curious outlook on our kind, eh? So it's down to the Timmies, eh? Just having a smoke? I don't know. I liked the Mackenzie brothers. Bob and Doug Mackenzie. They were great. Hey, Jordan. French-Canadian accent? Tabarnak! Out for a rip, it's a song and they're Canadian or making fun of Canadian. Ugliest accent. I don't know. Southern U.S. can be very hit or miss. I will say, Southern U.S. accent can be really hit or miss. You know, there's some people where some people that accent and it just sounds lilting, almost musical. And then there's some people and it's just like, holy shit, never speak again. Please never speak again. Can I do a Southern U.S. accent? Hey, Craig. Contrary to what you may think, we do not have wings nor magic wands. It is a bit more complicated than that. Hey, Zach. There's my Southern accent. Oh, I see. Do not be afraid. I am not going to eat you. Fairies are beings who are closer to nature, and whose powers come from the world tree. If the way I look seems slightly monstrous to you, it is quite simply because I am a former human, just like you, who forsook her existence and was corrupted. Apologize. Are you a demonic creature then? The laugh intensified. It is hard to grasp for believers who perceive the world in terms of right and wrong, heaven and hell. We fairies are entities who could not be more neutral. We are neither good nor evil. Hey, Beverly. We can just as well bless or curse mortals, depending on the way they use our powers. My nature will depend on you. If you employ me to do harm, then yes, I will be a demon. However, if you employ me to do good, then you will not have to worry about sin. Kiana let out a small, relieved sigh. For a moment, she had believed that she had summoned a demon or a similar creature. If her faith determined the fairy's actions, then surely she would not have to concern herself with anything. As a good Christian, it would never occur to her to do any misdeed after all. This is probably the game's way of telling you, oh, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to be evil. This is the game's way of saying that, hey, Kelface. Yeah, this is the game's way of saying you're probably going to end up doing some bad shit. You're going to be put in a situation where doing bad shit is going to seem like the only option available. I read in your eyes that you doubt me. As I said, my child, I am not a creature from hell who came to lead you astray. Only a human being who sealed away her memories and her ability to love so she could become a guardian of this world. How's my day? Did Goshi's. Her ability to love? Sounds shitty. My work would be meaningless if I were voluntarily sowing destruction all around me. Are you reassured now? Yes, godmother. Very good. Then let us move on to more serious matters. Before you even make a request, I will explain the rules. As your godmother, I am willing to grant you some minor and harmless services. However, if you wish for more thorough assistance on my part, you will have to make a pact. Snacks? Yeah, I got some snacks. A pact? It is quite simple. A human who has made a pact with a fairy can call her at any moment, instantly, and she will be able to grant one single wish, regardless of its nature. The bond between them is so strong that the request can be completely absurd, and it will still be fulfilled. However, this magic is not free. One does not bestow unlimited powers upon a mortal just like that. There must be an equivalent cost in return. In exchange for having their greatest wish fulfilled, the human must forsake part of their shared memories, which means they will vanish from the memory of the person they love the most. Kiana could not help but shiver. Nahima was the person dearest to her heart, and she did not intend to lose her. My favorite snacky? I do like pistachios. Pistachios are good. I like salt and vinegar chips. Chocolate-covered raisins. Brownies, but specifically the brownies my mom makes. I have some brownies in my fridge right now. I got some brownies from my mom when I went to visit her on Christmas. Still got some in my fridge. They good. They're good. Nahima, the person dearest to her heart. So, right now, Nahima seems like the obvious romance choice. The princess and her handmaiden? I mean, that does... the princess and her handmaiden? Classic romance, right? The mention of the rules tarnished her face. It is a heavy price to pay. Hey, Elizabeth. Indeed. I will not hide that it represents a substantial sacrifice. But the sacrifice is as great as the miracle I will be able to create at your request. The power to create miracles. Polly? You cannot be Polly, unfortunately. Is that a Doritos? This? It is Pop Shot brand. Orange. They didn't have any of the cream soda, so instead I got orange flavor. Yeah, it's Pop Shot brand. And there's an orange slice on the label. Doritos is good. I don't know if we have Doritos here. The princess immediately became pensive. A heavy responsibility was resting on her shoulders. The fairy realized this and tried to reassure her. That being said, know that completing a pact with me does not commit you in any way to make a wish. This was, incidentally, the case of your mother. My mother? Absolutely. We were bound by a pact, but she never managed to make up her mind because of her love for you and your father. Thus, she decided to break the pact and make you inherit my blessing instead. The princess was speechless. They came out with the shoe? So her late mother had chosen to protect her at any cost. Legends were true. The queen really was acquainted with fairies. Are you telling me that if I make a pact with you today, I can reconsider and nothing will happen to me? Exactly. You are a quick thinker. To be perfectly honest, I would rather avoid this scenario. As long as the pact is valid, I am forced to stay in your world, so that I can answer your call at all times. If you do not intend to use my powers, it is a waste of time for both of us, and I would rather get back to sleep in the World Tree. I will nevertheless heed your choice. So, we do not have to make this pact for you to help me? Yes and no. I may be able to use magic for small tasks, but as soon as you try to change fate to satisfy your aim, there will, inevitably, be consequences. It would be wiser to sign a pact in advance to have your wish at hand should you be in trouble. Are you implying that your magic could be dangerous? The fairy rolled her eyes, irritated. Like I have told you many times, I am neutral. My magic is not inherently dangerous. However, it could turn against you without warning, depending on how you use it. Just want this season to be over. For instance, let us say that you ask me to kill your father. Neighboring lords could get wind of it and decide it would be the perfect time to launch an attack on your lands. I will not have deliberately initiated a war, but war will stem from the murder perpetrated at your request. That would be a criminal action, incidentally, but I never object to the requests I get, should they be immoral or foul. I am not here to judge. Salad is nasty, indeed. Anyway, if an army ever happens to storm into the castle and you are taken hostage and threatened to be put to death, you will be glad to have a chance to ask me to release you or undo your wrongdoing. I understand now. Godmother, I am not sure I know what to do. The fairy looked touched for an instant. She seemed to be gazing through her, as if she were seeing someone else. I guess there's nothing we can do about it. If I had to give you one piece of advice, it would be this one. Close your eyes and honestly tell me in what you believe the most. What is the strength that could get you out of a difficult situation? Who got exposed? Sure, Killface. Magic? Don't know. I believe in myself. You gotta believe in yourself. I think that my willpower can make a difference. If I believe in my abilities, I can move mountains. Magic is only a trigger to push me into outdoing myself. The creature seemed genuinely surprised by that answer. Indeed, magic only serves as a supplement to your inner strength. Your strength is the source of magic even. The stronger your mind is, the more powerful your magic will be. I did not think you would have already understood this. You are very mature for a mortal so young. You have potential. I like that. Thank you, godmother. May I take some time to further ponder the matter? Of course. I will come back tonight. You will give me your answer then. In the meantime, be strong. I sense black clouds above you, my child. Salad has been found out to be a slime ball. Knew it. Never trusted it. Never trusted Salad. And with that rather mysterious sentence, the fairy vanished. Entrenched in her distress, the princess decided to walk around in order to help her think. Wandering through the corridors like a lost soul, she noticed that all the retainers were busy preparing for the imminent wedding. Am I going to fight him? Am I going to fight Salad? I'm not a fighter. By the way, I want you to know that when we talk about, when I talk about salad, I'm talking about the food. I just want to make it clear that when we're talking about, oh, salad sucks, I want to make it clear that I am talking about salad, the food. Fuck salad as a food, you know? Because, I am super not a fighter. And just in general, I'm not interested in fighting or drama. So I am saying that the food can get fucked. Salad as a dish can get fucked. Wasted chewing? Rather, they need a bowl of lettuce and cucumbers? Yeah. Passing near the kitchens, she overheard scraps of conversation between some of them. I have heard that the king has no money left. Yes, the marvelous donkey has been slaughtered. I know someone working at the stables who saw everything. That is appalling. How is the kingdom going to hold out? It was the only thing we have left. No idea. As far as I'm concerned, I'm thinking about leaving with my family. As a craftsman, I should be able to find work in another castle. How lucky. I would like to do the same, but it is impossible. I have to stay here until the very end, since I am only a chambermaid. Salad compels me to fart in people's faces. Yep. Kiana sneaked out before getting noticed. Now was not the time to be congratulated by fake smiles. She stopped for a while in the garden to meditate and pray. God, if you can hear me, give me your strength. Boring bitch. Absolutely. Later that night, as the heiress was rereading the courtly novel she had borrowed from the library under the candle's light, a scratch at the door interrupted her daydreaming. Panicked, she blew the dim flames out and lay down in her bed, pretending to be asleep. The scratching noise intensified. A few minutes later, the creaking of the panel being slid open revealed a silhouette. The princess focused as much as she could on keeping her eyes shut, as clear steps were coming closer to her. She waited, her heart pounding. Someone was standing right next to her. She could sense their breath. It was her father, she was sure of it. Got a salad earlier. It was delicious. Cool. Glad you enjoyed it. After what seemed like an eternity, she could once again hear the steps, this time farther away in the corridor, after the door was closed. The princess carefully opened her eyes. The donkey skin was lying just in front of her. No such thing as free will. Kiana could not hold back an exclamation of disgust. How dreadful! Poor thing! And yet, it is unlikely to bite you. Too soon, fairy. Too soon. The candles relit as if by magic, while the fairy was making an entrance in her usual whirlwind. I see that the king provided the hide of the donkey you had asked for. So you know. My child, I know almost everything. Such is the benefit of being a fairy. Is this a spicy game? It is not. Especially if you're a slut slave. Trying to marry his daughter, so... Do you have an answer to give me? Yes, madam. All things considered, I think I cannot make a wish under those conditions. I am not ready to lose the person I love the most, and I would not know what to wish for either way. I see. This is unfortunate, as it would have allowed me to get back to sleep sooner. But this probably is the wisest choice given your situation. Nonetheless, even if I can help you outside a wish, my powers will be incredibly reduced. Would you not want to make a pact as a precaution? Incest? Threatened incest. Nothing actually happens. It is based on a fairy tale called Donkey Skin. In that fairy tale, King wants to marry his own daughter. The daughter runs away, where she meets a prince, falls in love, marries the prince, and the king actually marries someone else, so he gets a happy ever after anyway, despite the fact that he tried to marry his own fucking daughter. So anyway, there's no actual incest. Just a threat of it. And now that we've been given the donkey skin, I think we are almost at the point where Kiana here will be running away, where the princess will be escaping. So we will be leaving behind the king very, very soon. Published in the late 1600s for context. Was it the 1600s? Yeah, 1694. So yeah, specifically 1694. Kiana put her hand under her chin in a pensive stance, then nodded. I accept. I hardly have a choice if I want to avoid that loathsome wedding anyway. Where's she running away to? Wherever. Let this be a deal, then. In that case, come closer and grab my hands. You must not let go of them during the whole summoning, understood? Yes, godmother. Perfect. Let us proceed. Wait! What is it, love? I do not even know your name. The fairy suddenly seemed moved, and, at the same time, almost sorrowful, as if that question was bringing back painful memories. I am known as Medea. Are you satisfied now? Ooh. I heard that it was disrespectful to pronounce the name of a fairy. Is that true? Or may I call you by that name? The creature looked in the direction of the other side of the room, as if she was ill at ease. It is quite complicated. Unless your name works like demon names do? If I happen to know it, I would gain absolute control over you, and that is something you would rather avoid? You truly are a clever one. Medea is my fairy name, not my real one. The one I was given when I was still a mortal. However, I forgot that name, along with all of my old memories when I was corrupted. So I cannot reveal it, even if I wanted to, and it would not be a good idea anyway. I believe in you, but entrusting a mortal with this sort of thing would have disastrous consequences. I see. May I know why you were called Medea, then? That is the name chosen by the World Tree when it read my heart. It is very likely based on what I have been as a human being. My favorite Christmas gift this Christmas? Pistachios! My gifts for this and money. So I like her kelp-esque hair. It is cool hair she's got. Very wild hair. I believe Medea means to understand, to meditate. This is a very pretty name that shows you are a person possessing high knowledge. The fairy could not suppress her laugh. Certainly. Are you satisfied this time? Yes, godmother. Let us begin. Medea grabbed the princess's frail hands and began to recite an incantation in an unknown language. Name of this track is Karma. A magic circle soon appeared on her back. As she was singing louder and louder, quicker and quicker, the various flames located in the room seemed to gain strength. Eyes closed, the fairy appeared to be in a trance. Yay, we got our first memory fragment! We'll look at it after the scene. Kiana was scared by her exalted face. A strange feeling spread through her body as the distant beatings of drums came to her ears. Her sight started to become blurred. The heat was preventing her from thinking straight, and she already could not comprehend what was going on anymore. The fairy was unmistakably drawing near the climax of her incantation, and the princess had to struggle to keep standing. All of a sudden, a fierce burn pierced her chest, as if an invisible hand were branding her with red-hot iron. Then, nothing. The fairy's chant gradually stopped, and Kiana eventually got her 5 senses back. Alright, memory fragment number 1. Oh, we don't actually do anything with it yet. Actually, this is memory fragment number 2. Weirdly, we get the memory fragments out of order. So even though this is the first one we actually got, it's memory fragment number 2. What happened? Something had changed in Medea. Her eyes were glowing with a troubling light, contrasting with the nonchalance she had displayed so far. Oops. A shit or a fart? Hello, MJ. I don't know. Donkey Skin is a good band name. I mean, it's not a bad one. I'd rather be a fart because it can fly away. Fair. That's fair.
The link has been established.
The fairy then kneeled before the dazed young woman. I am at your service. You can now summon me whenever you like. I would like to nevertheless specify that I remain a mere outsider. You are the one to make the decisions and shape your own fate. What do you mean? Well, in short, I will settle for executing your orders. It is up to you to ask me what you need. Kiana remained speechless. The fairy got back on her feet and put on her most beautiful smile. When the princess was able to see her pupils again, the creature had seemingly returned to normal. Would I eat poop? I would not. Call me when you have made up your mind, love. I am going for a stroll. And with those caustic words, she evaporated again. At the same time, Nahima burst into the room. Oh, Princess, I am so sorry. I was held back a good part of the day because of the incoming ceremony, and I could not slip out sooner. Are you all right? Could be better. Oh, I am embarrassed. You would have seen the fairy and your father since this morning. I guess you must be shaken. But I am here now, and I will not leave your side. If I can help you in any way, just tell me. Sorry, just give me a minute for something. How am I doing? Eh. Usual. I'm the same as normal. Anyway. Thank you, Nahima. You are adorable. The young servant furtively put her hands on her cheeks to hide their rosiness. Wish you made me happy? Aw, thanks. It is the least I can do. Nahima will always be by your side, no matter what happens. Have no doubt. The princess coughed as a way to redirect the conversation. I was able to talk with my godmother. She agrees to help me, but only if I explain what I need. She told me that she would not allow herself to decide what to do in my place. Kiana decided not to mention the pact in order to not worry her friend. The incantation had been frightening enough that the heiress did not want to bring up the subject ever again. Hey, Eugene. Shut up about the poop. Shut up about the poop. Well, if that isn't a conversation I've had before. Furthermore, she was feeling shameful and was refusing to confess to her religious friend that she had been imprinted by the fairy's mark. That could not possibly be a good thing in the eyes of God. Oh, that is good news. Have you decided how you are going to escape from your father? Not yet, but I am working on it. I am going to sit in a corner of the room to avoid disturbing you then. Give me a sign if you need me. The princess took the time to lay on the bed and watch her breathing, so that she would be perfectly calm and lucid. The decision she was about to make was crucial, and she had no room for mistakes. However, her mind was empty, and she did not know how to escape from her father without him finding her. Kiana glanced around the room in the hope of finding an idea. Her eyes laid upon... Her eyes fell on the manuscript of clichés that she had brought from the library and put on her desk. In that story, the characters go through similar hardships. Fénix devises a ploy so that Cliché's uncle believes her to be dead, allowing her to escape with her lover without raising any suspicion. Who knows, Gilface? Too early to tell. To achieve that goal, she asks her wet nurse Thessala, who can brew potions, to make a filter that would make her appear dead. That could be a solution. Ask my godmother for a similar beverage and solicit Nahima to be my accomplice. Her eyes fell on the donkey skin that her father had placed on her bed. It looked really hideous. A strange thought then crossed the young woman's mind. Nobody would ever suspect her to be a noble lady if she was disguised with such unsightly rags. If her godmother managed to get her out of the castle, she could pretend to be a peasant and avoid being recognized. That could be a solution. Disguise myself with the hide of the animal and flee with the complicity of the fairy. Sounds like a plan. Not something I'm going to talk about here, Pika. With determination in her eyes, the princess stood back up. She waved to Nahima. I gotta sneeze. Sorry about that. Hey, Rat Mouse. I will riz your son. I don't have a son. I think that I have found an idea. Let us call my godmother without further delay. Well, that was quick. I am already here. The two young women jolted upon hearing the fairy, who had appeared without warning. So this is your true form, whispered Nahima. How impressive! Medea's trait seemed to lighten up. Thank you. I will take that as a compliment. I will riz your mum. Good for you. What can I say to make you laugh? I don't know. Have you tried being funny? Oh, boom! I'm sorry, Killface. That was rude. That was so unnecessary. I'm sorry. Anyway, let us get back to the reason of my presence. Speak, love. How can I help you? I need you to help me escape the castle achievement. Alright, pretend to be dead, or flee with the skin as a disguise. I'm leaning towards this one because that's how the fairy tale goes. You all debate it while I blow my nose real quick. Put rat in the chat to join the rat army. I love the melodrama of Pretend to be Dead, and it's like the song. Pretend to be Dead sounds interesting. The thing is, where the skin is a disguise is how the actual fairy tale goes. I would think Pretend to be Dead would be the bigger challenge. Well, with that one, you get a potion, you drink it, hey, you're dead. It's the Romeo and Juliet thing. Yeah, you drink a potion that makes it seem like you're dead. Didn't know you had potions, sir? Apparently we do. Bong rips? I'm not doing bong rips. Vapor? No! No drugs. And I'm fleeing with the skin as a disguise. I'm gonna go with this one because this is how the fairy tale goes. So I figure I want to play like to the fairy tale. Godmother, I would like you to make me momentarily invisible to everyone's eyes, so that I can escape the castle dressed in the donkey skin. Thus, I would be free to leave without raising suspicion, and could seek refuge in a neighboring lord. An invisibility spell? It is not a terribly complicated request. Really? In that case, may I ask you something else? I cannot make any promise, but do explain. I will see what I can do. Since I will be disguised as a peasant, I need to bring with me evidence of my social status. No prince would ever accept to receive me solely on the basis of some fine words. This is why I would like to bring my most beautiful clothes along without staining them. Thus, I could prove that I am indeed a princess. Moreover, the sight of those adornments will surely lift my spirits during my exile, for I am very well aware that it will take some time before this plan comes to fruition. Is that all you desire? Yes, Godmother. In that case, I have exactly what you need. I can let you have a bottomless chest. Thanks to it, you will be able to store anything you want, and it will follow you wherever you go by passing underground. Fancy. The fairy turned to Kiana with a serious look on her face. In a few nimble gestures, she traced invisible words in the air, and a staff appeared in her hand. Here is a hazel rod. When you will need your beautiful clothes, hit the ground with the rod, and the magic chest will appear. I entrust it to you, so do not lose it. Thank you, Godmother. I will make sure of that. Thrilled by the prospect of planning her escape, the princess kissed the fairy on the cheek with gratitude. Nahima, genuinely relieved, could not help but cheer her young mistress. How astute of you, Princess! This is one well-conducted plan. Nobody will ever suspect that it is you hidden beneath those hideous rags. We must prepare post-haste. What would you want to take on our trip? Thoughts on the legalization of all drugs? Do it. Hearing those words, Kiana froze. The servant did not seem to understand what her flight implied, and displayed a pure, innocent smile, as she was about to prepare to leave with her. Even though it was breaking her heart to do so, the heiress had to halt her enthusiasm. Nahima, I am sorry, but I must go alone. Slowly, the young retainer's face crumpled. Princess Sapir's moon version. Was I not supposed to accompany you? I would love for us to go together, really, I assure you. But think carefully about it. I am fleeing in the middle of the night, disguised as a pauperess to be sure nobody will recognize me. If you, my lady-in-waiting, are by my side, the guards will immediately figure out who I am. The mere fact that you disappear at the same time as me would be the glaring proof that you are my accomplice. This is why I have to escape alone. As long as I will be in exile, we will not be able to see each other. Aw, nuts. It's a good point. I accidentally smoked crack once at 20. Nahima opened her mouth, ready to retort, but no sound came out. She looked down, helpless, before trying to clutch at straws. But, Princess, will you be able to handle things on your own? I could prove useful in your adventure, and my presence will not change the fact that you are on the run anyway. I know it will be hard, but I must go alone. We hardly have a choice, Nahima. You have to stay here if I want to have a chance to pass unnoticed. But it cannot be. The servant lowered her eyes again, as if she was looking for arguments. Man, I am not drinking, Ugly Hobo. It's orange soda. It's just orange soda. Maybe I should have gone with the poison option after all. Should have gone with the poison path after all. That way I could bring Nahima along so I could romance her. Looks like I won't be able to romance her in this game. .22 ounce. It's 355 milliliters. Pow, math test. Answer it or you are stupid. Guess I'm stupid. Had she been attentive, Kiana would have noticed that Nahima was anxiously twisting her fingers, and that her voice was shaking. Yet she did not see anything. Or rather, she chose to stay blind. Are you going to leave me here? After everything we have been through, after all those years of loyalty? Even though I was ready to follow you to the end of the earth? Why, Princess? The young woman was sobbing, her eyes full of tears. The heiress could not help but be moved. Nahima usually kept her emotions buried, only showing a reassuring smile. It was the first time she was seeing her friend like this since the death of her mother. And even back then, she had quickly dried her tears to appear stronger, to show Kiana that she could count on her. Only today did the heiress realize that her longtime accomplice was not the infallible girl she thought she knew. This scene deeply disturbed her, but her decision was taken. She could not allow her servant to foil her plan, even if she was convinced of her good intentions. Nope. Still has to be over here. Man! Bring your girlfriend! Come on! So no shagging the servant this time around. She had to find a way to console her. Kiana took on a soft tone of voice and tried to put a smile back on her face. This is not irrevocable, Nahima. Once I have managed to obtain protection from my lord, you will be able to join me. Truly? The servant stared at her mistress with prying eyes. Of course, this is only temporary, I tell you. As soon as I will be out of the woods, my priority will be to send you a letter to tell you where I am and invite you to come see me. Do you promise? You are not going to forget your Nahima? The princess flashed a beaming smile and declared solemnly, I promise you. The young Moor immediately stood up straight, back to her usual posture, and cleared her throat. In that case, I, Nahima, give you permission to leave. You have my blessing, princess, but do not keep me waiting for too long. Days will seem long without you. Before the impenetrable eyes of the fairy, who was observing the scene, the two girls threw themselves into each other's arms. While the servant was delighted by her mistress' display of affection, the princess was already projecting herself before this unknown prince who was waiting for her somewhere, the prince she would need to impress. The young Moor stopped the stirring embrace with a comforting face, her thoughts wandering elsewhere, her blood boiling in her veins. Eager, she grasped the rod and sharply hit the ground. A chest promptly materialized in front of her amazed eyes. Thoughts on homeless people taking cans or bottles off the street for recycling? Good for them. And in every corner of the screen, it seems. I know, because it's like, usually stuff is on the bottom here. And usually, like, there's space in the top right corner. But sometimes the top left corner. But then there's stuff up here, so I need to move to the one of the bottom corners. Kiana hastened to open her wardrobe in order to gather her most shining dresses, as well as her most expensive pieces of jewelry. Naively, she esteemed that her priority was to go all out to be sure to dazzle the lord she would visit. It was therefore with certain vanity that she was surreptitiously admiring herself in the mirror each time she tried on an outfit or an accessory, before carefully putting it in the chest. Although the dresses granted by her father were poisoned gifts, eternal reminders of the morbid fate which was threatening her, she could not help but find them to her liking. She could not help but tell herself that it would be such a waste to throw them away. In a matter of minutes, the magic chest got filled, and, the night advancing, it appeared to the princess that it was high time to leave the palace. Kiana donned the donkey skin with a bit of disgust, then turned to her friend and the fairy. I must go. Wish me luck. She looks pretty cute there. I don't know. Cute? I think it's a cute look. One moment, Angel. I still have to cast the spell. Let me see. With a gesture as deft as the previous ones, Medea traced some impenetrable symbols while mumbling. A thin veil then covered the princess from head to toe, making her entirely transparent. I advocate for theft? Indeed. There you are, invisible. Be discreet nonetheless, for you are not immaterial. You would only need to make contact with a guard to arouse his suspicion. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. One last piece of advice, if I may. It is very dark outside, and it would seem wiser to me to steal a torch before diving into the unknown. Otherwise, you will not see further than the tip of your nose. The torch will be momentarily invisible too, should you place it under this magic veil, but know that the spell will end as soon as you put a foot outside the palace. I am deeply grateful for everything you are doing for me. Well, I am your godmother, after all. I shall leave at once. I promise my exile will be short, Nahima. Be careful, princess. With these brief farewells, Kiana vanished in the castle's corridors under the defeated look of her servant, still disappointed and worried. She exclaimed in a sigh, Will I ever see her again? The fairy, who had stayed oddly silent during their embrace, tried to comfort her and put a kind hand on her shoulder. There, do not cry. I know I should not, but I have a bad feeling about this. As if nothing will ever be the same again. You who are so powerful, can you see the future? Could you tell me if everything is going to be all right? The limbo creature was deep in thought for a moment before quietly answering. If my third eye is right, I think the princess is not going to get very far. A few meters from there, Kiana was stealthily sneaking through the castle's corridors. Because of the upcoming wedding ceremony planned by the king, the retainers were bustling in every direction, and moving forward without bumping into one of them was more difficult than Kiana had imagined. Following her godmother's advice, she stopped for a few moments to unhook a torch from its stand. Suddenly, there was a metallic clinking behind her back. Breathtaken, the princess rushed to conceal the torch under her invisibility veil and leaned against a pillar. Soon enough, a guard who was patrolling appeared. With dark circles under the eyes, he inspected his surroundings while whistling. To her great horror, he halted a mere centimeters away from the young woman.
Fancy that? I would have sworn that there was a torch in this spot. I'm pretty sure I saw one earlier while doing my tour. How strange.
The guard scratched his head before shrugging with resignation.
I bet that brat Caton is just stealing again. I did warn the boy that I would denounce him at the slightest repeat offense. I've been way too patient with him.
Kiana heard him grumble out loud as he was continuing on his way.
This work is tedious enough as it is. I really don't need to have a family's death on my conscience. I know well that his mother is sick, but this is going too far.
Relieved, the princess caught her breath and dashed forward to a back door Nahima had indicated earlier. It was a pathway used by retainers to avoid crossing the great portcullis and save time. Following the hidden staircase, she found herself outside as the steps led straight into the moat. Luckily for her, a tiny rowboat was also tied to a stake nearby, and all she had to do was to use it to cross the stretch of water, still equipped with her torch. Well, it was easier than I had thought, she exclaimed while looking back. Hey, Rexy. Point de jour. Or point de jour. Oops, no, that's not what I want to do. Point de jour. Another Breton tale told by folklorist Paul Sebillot. In Folktales from High Brittany, 1880, Point de jour is a refreshing variant of Little Thumb. The eponymous protagonist does not have 6 brothers, but only 2 sisters who are favored by their father, a widowed man who indulges in all their whims but does not hesitate to hit him. Unhappy with his situation, the little boy goes into the forest on his own initiative in the hope of finding better luck elsewhere. After helping several animals along the way, he reaches the ogre's dwelling and asks for hospitality. He is fattened there for days until the latter finally decides to eat him. Thanks to the guidance of the animals he saved in the forest earlier, Point de jour nonetheless manages to escape from the ogre by leaping into a magical well that transports him into another world. There he meets once again with all the animals. They give him a talisman that grants any wish before he takes the road back to his father's house. Point de jour is also an old French expression referring to daybreak. Missed a story, missed an archive note. At night, the castle appeared to be surrounded by dark depths and looked almost ghostly. Conscious that her veil of invisibility had just worn away and that she was now plainly visible to the guards patrolling on the rampart walk, Kiana decided that it would be wiser to cut across the forest to be sure she would not draw attention. She impulsively ventured deep into the woods, torch in hand. And we have now escaped our incest rapist father.
We have escaped Daddy Bad Touch. Hey, stylish Irish Trish. The princess was unaccustomed to walking outside, even less so in such inhospitable surroundings. What is this music anyway? Point du jour is the name of the song. Okay. She was progressing with difficulty as she sometimes had to push branches to keep moving, sometimes to climb large rocks, or take a detour so that she would not fall into a hole. I don't really do hugs, Jordan. Sorry. Dirt disgusted her, yet she still had to touch the moss-ridden trunks and brambles which were standing in her way. Making faces the whole time, Kiana rued deep down, not being able to ask Nahima to escort her. Surely she could have guided her and gotten dirty in her place. If the donkey skin was keeping her warm enough, it was still rather long, and always got caught in some twigs, which forced the young woman to extricate herself several times in a row. It was already terrifying in itself to end up in the forest all alone, at the mercy of the untimely hooting of nocturnal birds, and she did not fail to mumble and curse to exorcise the fear that was slowly crawling inside her. Stupid owls, you are hurting my ears. No sooner had Kiana pronounced this puerile reproach than she tripped on a root and fell flat on her face on the damp ground. Ugh! Ashamed, she picked herself up while dusting the dead leaves stuck in her skin, and continued on her route. The flickering flame barely allowed her to discern where her feet were taking her, and she was no longer very sure of her exact position. I was right to listen to my godmother's advice. What would I have done without light? As the cold and fatigue were making her feeble, the young woman lost her balance several times. With each fall, her morale diminished, and she was soon brought to tears. If someone could see me, what would they think? What a fine princess I am. As she was vainly trying to keep her composure, Kiana eventually slipped and fell into a swamp. The torch, which had followed her in the fall, died the moment it reached the muddy water, plunging her surroundings into total darkness. The young woman almost gave up, but, flushed with anger, she extracted herself from the mud. Filthy, stinking, pathetic, spread out among the leaves, she did not know what to do anymore. It was a dark and terrifying night. All around she could see the menacing trees and eerie bushes, where some lost souls or wild beasts were surely hiding. The confidence she had tried to preserve had completely vanished, along with her only source of light. Kiana wept while attempting to blindly move forward, but to no avail. Completely disoriented, she did not recognize anything anymore. She could not even tell where she came from, or where she had to go. That was a terrible idea. Oh, why did I think it would be right to cut through the forest? And why did I reject Nahima? Cursed be my pride! Shivering from cold and fear, the princess pulled herself on a big branch in order to take shelter from the beasts that were roaming in the woods, and decided to wait for daylight. I hope that I am not going to run into a bear or a boar, or else it would be the end of my brief adventure. Completely exhausted, she lost consciousness. Shot the sun. Cenerentola. It is in the first European fairy tale collection, The Tale of Tales, or Pentamerone, from writer Giambattista Basile, that you can find one of the first written versions of Cinderella. A rather surprising version at that, as there are not one, but two different stepmothers. Because she is terrified by the first one, a sullen but inoffensive woman, the heroine named Zezola is charmed by the promises of her tutor, the Carmosina, who offers to take her place. The both of them consequently orchestrate an unfortunate accident to break her neck. Zezola then moves heaven and earth to convince her father to wed her tutor. Jesus Christ! What a dark version! This is a version of Cinderella who murders her own stepmother.
Once married, the Carmesina forgets her promises little by little and keeps the best treatments for her 6 daughters, who were hidden up to that point, thus relegating Zezola to the dirty work. This is how she earns the nickname Cenerentola, that could be translated as Ashcat, Chat de Cendre in French. Chat de Cendres, Ashcat. That's cute! Ashcat is a very cute name for something. Anyway, what a fucked up version of Cinderella. When the young woman opened her eyes, she firstly believed that it was just a bad dream, before remembering the events of the night. The first rays of dawn restored her courage, and she choked back the tears strangling her throat. After climbing down her perch and brushing off some insects with repugnance, she went further into the woodland maze. She wandered for long hours, not knowing where to go, worn out, desperate. At daybreak, she finally managed to reach the edge of the forest. Exhausted by her long walk, the princess could not help but cry again, this time with joy. On leaving the woods, she caught a glimpse of a path and approached the signboard which was standing there. She then realized with relief that she had almost left her father's kingdom, and that she would only need a few more steps to reach a neighboring land. Kiana lightheartedly followed the road running alongside the jungle, eager to discover an unknown country. Trotting around, she spotted a pond and wanted to take the opportunity to clean herself up, as she was covered in mud and leaves. While she was sitting down near the water and making herself more presentable, she suddenly heard a rumble. Horses! Panicked, the princess hastily rushed to the forest and kneeled behind a large log so that she could watch without being noticed. As if it was a response to her fears, horse riders wearing her family crest galloped across the narrow path. Kiana waited for a few minutes before coming out of her hiding place, pensive. These men are most certainly sent by my father. He must have noticed my disappearance, and is already seeking me. I must be more prudent. The young woman followed her path while making sure she was always staying near the forest. Hours flew by under a blinding spring sun. Hungry, thirsty, exhausted by so much effort, and aching from her short night outdoors, she was barely able to think, to the point that she was just letting her feet guide her. Wandering tirelessly, she eventually reached a more welcoming landscape. In the distance, she could make out the towers of a castle. At last, I have succeeded. The local lord. All the determination that was maintaining her ability to walk suddenly shattered, and she collapsed in the middle of the road. A few meters from Kiana's unconscious body, a young shepherdess was quietly leading her sheep in the direction of the little farm where she lived with her family. She was coming back from the pasture and was cheerfully whistling when one of the sheep stopped to lick the princess's hair. Gee, Monty, did you not eat enough today? Come here! The so-called Monty refused to move an inch and simply bleated, which intrigued the farmer. She came closer and discovered the donkey skin. Her face became distorted with bewilderment. What on earth is this funny creature? When Kiana opened her eyes, she was lying on a rudimentary bedding, a heavy woolen bag filled with straw, in the middle of a shack. Before she even had time to analyze her new surroundings, the young shepherdess walked in and gave her a mocking look. finally awake? Is that a Scottish accent? I think it's more southern. I think it's more of a southern accent. The heiress was not used to being spoken to in such a familiar manner, but she knew perfectly well that nobody should recognize her. Hey, kids. So she decided to play along and replied in the same tone, while staying friendly. Where am I? In my house. I found you collapsed a stone's throw from the farm. I don't know what you were doing there, but carrying you was no easy task. I had to ask Monty for help. Monty? One of our sheep. It carried you to climb the hill. You're a little too heavy for me to carry you on my own. I have to keep some energy for my working day anyway. Oh, I see. Thank you for rescuing me. Don't mention it. I can't just watch fainted people on the road and not do anything. Oh, by the way, I'm Fleur. Her name's Fleur, which means I should have given her a French accent. Nice to meet you, Fleur. The farmer frowned. Despite her young age, she seemed to have quite a strong personality, which disconcerted Kiana, as she was too accustomed to living amongst retainers who behaved nicely around her. Already gotten used to the sun. I know. Yeah, I'm already used to it. You know, the least you could do would be to return the favor and give me your name. Ah. Despite her best efforts to seem affable, the princess could not help but gulp. This was the first time a lowly brat dared to put her in her place, and she did not like this feeling very much. She had to hold herself from answering back and gave an awkward smile instead. You are right. What was I thinking? You can call me Kiana. That is an interesting name for a person with an equally interesting look. What country are you from? I've never seen a dark-skinned girl like you before. From very, very far. I just arrived here by chance. Although she had given her real name without batting an eye, the princess did realize that it was not wise to relate in detail where she came from and what she was doing here. Thus she tried to hide her inability to lie behind a nervous laugh. I suspected as much. It must have been a long journey. For that matter, you must need to regain some strength. Come, let's eat together. The maiden offered bread, wine, and cheese to the traveler. Grateful, Kiana bit into the meal. After a while, as she was replete, she rapidly examined her surroundings. Are you living alone? You saying Fleur sounded like my grandmother asking you for flour? Spot on southern accent with that word. You're offended, Jordan? I'm sorry, Jordan. I've said I'm bad at accents. I admit to being bad at accents. But, are you living alone? Fleur heartily laughed. Of course not. What kind of farmer could survive on their own? You need to have enough people to tend to a farm. Even a humble one. Come on. Since the weather is nice today, my father's fishing, and my mother's making baskets. Both are near the lake and should have already eaten their meal on the spot. Oh, of course. But you seem so young and yet so resourceful, I cannot help but be a little curious. I'm 14 years old and I assist my family. Nothing out of the ordinary. Do a leprechaun accent? No. Do you not have siblings? Fleur's expression immediately darkened. I used to, but death took them all away.
I'm the only one left to help my parents, so it can be hard sometimes. It's the fate of every farmer. With numerous of us, come too many mouths to feed. If we are not enough people, we are quickly lacking workforce. You must have a similar experience.
Of course.
The young girl flexibly leapt to her feet and stretched like a cat. Anyhow, I'm chatting, but now is not the time to be nostalgic. I personally have a lot on my plate.
I suppose so.
Fleur stared at Kiana, dumbstruck. I was trying to be subtle here.
I beg your pardon?
I'm going to get back to work, so you need to leave now.
Oh, where to?
The farmer vigorously scratched her head. She could not believe her ears. Don't you have anywhere to go? Something to do? Someone waiting for you? Kiana fell deep in thought. If truth be told, she had already reached her first goal by settling in another country, moreover so close to the local castle. She obviously still had to catch the attention of the Lord, but she was fairly certain she could succeed with a bit of ruse. She simply needed some time to hatch a plan. Hate blonde, southern US accents and hugs, so I have a toaster I need to throw in the bath. I'm sorry, Jordan. It's not that I hate those things. I don't hate blondes, it's just of all the hair colors, blonde is the one that does the least for me. Southern US accents, like I said. You know, some southern accents work, some don't, yep. Sometimes it's lilting and musical. Sometimes it's harsh and grating. Killface. I used to deal exclusively with people from the southern US. Back when I was working for AT&T / Singular / AT&T again, dealt with a lot of Americans, like we were dealing with Americans. And at one point, our call center was set up to deal specifically with the southeastern U.S. All those southeastern states: Florida, Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas. So, I heard a fucking lot of southern accents. I would hear southern accents all day, every day. By the way, you press a button, you don't mash a button, you press a button, you bastards. You want me to mash it? Yeah, so press the power button. You want me to mash it? Yes, mash the power button. You also crank a car? You mash a button on the clicker? By the way, hi plant family. I'll mash your mom's button. Nice, nice.
To tell the truth, I have come to live in this lovely kingdom. If your family is willing to take me in, then I cannot refuse such an offer.
But they didn't ask. You weren't invited, Kiana. They didn't invite you, Kiana.
No offer was made, Kiana. Oh, I can't resist. I can't refuse such a generous offer. But we didn't make an offer, and yet I still can't refuse it. So thank you. Fleur stayed speechless, her eyes as large as teacups. Wait a minute. Tell me I'm dreaming. You want to stay with us? Well, yes. Is it not how it works? I thought that you were offering me to remain in your house for the time being so that I could rest. Yes, just long enough for you to regain consciousness and have a snack. This here isn't an inn. And you're not even a passing traveler since you just told me you wanted to move in. I'm on Fleur's side here. Is that a problem? The princess' blatant naivete fazed the young girl. She firmly grabbed Kiana by the hand and pulled her away to the outside. When I die, I hope I get to see how many times I said, y'all. She hastily led her through the hills to the lake, where two farmers were peacefully attending to their business. Father, Mother, we have a serious problem. Hey, the Anselm family. Huguette. What's happening, Fleur? I thought that you had finished taking care of the stranger. I thought so too, but she doesn't want to go anymore. What do you mean she doesn't want to go? She says she wants to stay with us. I don't know what to do to make her understand that it's not possible. The two farmers stared at each other, taken aback. Forgive me, young lady, I'm not quite sure I follow. Well, Fleur was offering me hospitality, so I accepted. The maiden let go of the princess's hand at once, horrified. But I never said that! Is that true, Fleur? Did you promise to accommodate her? Now that I think about it, you did tell us the other day that you would have liked an additional person to deal with the chores. I didn't think you would go as far as making sure of that behind our backs. I wouldn't! I swear that I've done nothing like that. She's the one who misunderstood. Really? Could there be a misunderstanding? I have heard many good things about farmers' hospitality. Therefore, I thought that someone in need like me was sure to be fed and housed by a benevolent family until I set off again. But you said you wanted to settle here? Indeed, I would love to stay in this lovely country. In that case, you're never going to leave. Sweet Jesus, I don't know what you promised her, Fleur, but now you have to keep your word. But It's rather embarrassing, but if our daughter committed to welcoming you, we have no choice but to comply. Did Kiana just... Was that intentional or was it unintentional? Did Kiana just, manipulate these people? Or did she genuinely have no idea what the hell's going on? I'm honestly not sure if Kiana actually knows what's going on, and, if she's just gaslighting this entire family, or if she has absolutely no goddamn clue what the hell's happening, and she just unintentionally gaslit this family. Thank you very much. However, this is not unconditional, young lady. We need manpower around here, so you better help running the farm if you want bed and board. No problem. Father, I'm not sure that she really gets it. How troublesome. What's your name, lady? Kiana. Well, Kiana, I'm old Anselm, and this is my wife, Huguette. We agree to welcome you if you prove yourself useful. Even though the princess looked grubby to them with her dreadful donkey skin, they hardly took umbrage, hoping that she would be house-proud enough to help them out. but Kiana had obviously committed to helping without being fully aware of what farm life was like, which would not fail to play tricks on her later on. And Donkey Skin 3! To get the princess out of the sticky situation, her godmother advises her to wear the donkey skin so that she would not be recognized, and to run away as fast as she can. Before leaving, she gives her a little box so that she can take all of her clothes. The object turns out to be quite extraordinary, as it follows its mistress underground, and only reveals itself by wave of a magic wand. Wand that the fairy graciously entrusts to her protege. The princess complies, and the disguise works so well that she repels everyone who crosses her path because of her horribly filthy appearance. It is only after a long journey that she finally reaches a farm, where she is hired as a scullery maid. Unfortunately, her new life proves to be harsh, as she is permanently brutalized and laughed at by the other farmers. She takes refuge in her daydreams in order to hold on, until the arrival of a Prince Charming. In the prose version, the woman farmer feels sorry for her and takes her under her protection. And good place to end. Good place to call it an evening. I'm a very good reader. I am Sir Capone. You suck at reading out loud? A weirdly high number of people do. I don't know, it's weird to me how many people are genuinely bad at reading out loud. I don't really get it. So, anywho's, this was fun. Tomorrow will be the final part of my Emily is Away Let's Play. So tomorrow, chapters 4 and 5 of Emily is Away 2, the end of Emily is Away 2, will be going up. And starting in the new year, January 2nd, Part 1 of Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. I'll need to figure out days. Maybe Sundays I'll post Emily is Away 3. Maybe because I still got Emily is Away 3 to get through as well. So maybe I'll do that one on Sundays. For the 5 weeks that it takes. 4 or 5 weeks it takes. Anyway. Thanks for watching. And, see you next time. Good night.